This demo covers a variant of services where you're working with the supplier to generate a service order. And how we do that is we use our RFQ module. So in complex services like oil field services work where, there's large rate sheets and, complex work that's being done. And, for instance, where you're coming on, and you remember I showed you that rate sheet at Equinor that's 700 items long. When you're trying to determine how much something is going to cost, it quite often requires collaboration with the supplier, and that's the model that we're going to show you today. So what we're going to do is initiate a statement of work, a service requisition framework. In other words, I as the requisition to describe what I want, and then I ask the supplier to say, what does it take to perform this work based on my rate sheet? So again, we're using a simple services form. Remember, we discussed the rate sheets, and the rate sheet here you can see from the platform maintenance guy, there is a series of labor services, tools and equipment, etc., that make ordering complicated. You can see the nature of the descriptions. They're highly specialized, and frankly, only the supplier really knows the use of those items. So I'm going to go back to my search screen, and I'm going to go to the complex call-off. This is what we call it. It's a complex call-off where, in fact, we're going to initiate an RFQ. And looking at the process, we've done and created a message which tells the user how to do it. So the process we're going to go through is complete the offshore services form below. That's this form here. We're going to set a create RFQ. We're going to select a template, which we call platform maintenance template. We can create templates and RFQs. We can complete the simplified RFQ header fields. We can select the supplier we want to work with and add all the reference documents and release the RFQ. What's going to happen then is I'll show you the supplier is going to come in, and using their rate sheet, they're going to build out their response to this item. And then once they submit it back, you can go through a process to award the items that the supplier has created and to a cart and order it. So first thing we're going to do is complete the form. And complex things like this are typically, if this is scheduled maintenance, what we're going to do is we're going to bring on a contractor onto the site for a period of time. In other words, this is a platform, for instance, where we're going to bring 5 people out to the site, to the platform, and they're going to perform a bunch of work in accordance with it. So we're going to bring them on the 14th, and we're going to send them back on the 19th. There's a work order number reference we're going to have. And we're going to bring 3 people out for 5 days, and we can put in information. The rest of the form talks about who the contacts and things like that are. And this one here is specifically assigned to the platform maintenance contractor. So in accordance with our process, we're now going to create the RFQ. And you can see we have a number of templates that we could use. I'm going to use this platform maintenance template. And we've simplified this template so we have very little information that we have to fill out. So we've got to fill out a header name and a bit more information in there. And then we're going to have a start date for the RFQ, which will be today, and we're going to save that. So the remainder of the thing is that we have our item that's got the attached documents with it. We've got the participants, which we can go in later. We're going to select the suppliers, and we have rules under which the platform, the supplier gets selected. This can be for one or many suppliers. And so I'm going to select the supplier, save that. I'm going to attach some documents, which are typically the specification documents. I'm going to select this document and a PDF, just as an example. And then there's a summary of it. And basically, I can release this as this RFQ to the supplier. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is act as the supplier. And so in this example, I'm going to go in and act as the supplier. And that's my platform supplier. And I'm going to change suppliers. And so what I can see now is that scheduled maintenance RFQ. And what we see here, you can see our documents that we attach that he can download and review, and this description about what this item is all about. But basically, he's going to create a framework item here and save that. And then he's going to do what we call add sub-items. And when you add sub-items, you basically are sent to OPC where the supplier has his catalog. And so he can search by his item numbers. And so we're going to bring 3 people on offshore. We're going to bring a supervisor, a shift leader, and a service engineer. And we're going to add those to the cart. And then we're going to do some schedule maintenance. And so this happens to be the items that we use to get schedule maintenance. And so this is some schedule maintenance on some lifting tools. When you bring somebody out onto the site, you're going to do a number of these services. And so I'm going to add those items to the cart. And we might look for some mobilization costs as well. Okay, so let's mobilize some people out of Berlin and add to cart. So I'm using the rate sheet of the supplier to build out the response. And so here are the items that we're going to be using. And I'm going to go and now add these to the supplier response. So you can see now I've got a structured item where I have the item master with the form on it and things like that. And then I can go ahead and do it. Now, I've identified the items, but I'm going to go through a process of just adjusting the quantity. So here it's 5 days of each of these guys. So 5, 5, 5. And then we're going to have 10 of these guys, 10 and 3 and 7. So the point I'm trying to make here, and we've got 5 mobilizations. And there I've got my estimate. And I can print and review my estimate. So here is my supplier response for my schedule meeting. I've got all the rate sheets that I'm going to use. And so I'm going to now go back and submit it to the requisitioner. So now I'm going to go back in as the requisitioner. Acme US. And if I look at my quote overviews, I can see here's my schedule maintenance, and I've got my response back from the supplier. So I'm going to take this and we look at the item overview. Going to select that item and add it to item overview. And there we can see the response items coming back from the supplier with all the pricing in it. And so I'm just going to simply select that and go through an award process. Here, it's an award. There's a couple of steps in it because you can do partial awards and things like this. But in this case, we're awarding the entire item. And so we're going to create the card. And so you're now back into the system where we've got a card, and we'll give it a name, and all the information is in there. It's our $46,000 worth of work, and I can proceed to check out, and I can place the order. So in summary, you can see I've gone through a process of collaborating with the supplier. I send the supplier a scope of work, which is a master item with the associated documents, and then the supplier will respond to that order using the rate sheet within the system. And this is the approved rate sheet, so you always guarantee that the rate sheet is correct. And then he then submits the quote back, and it goes into an award process. We have multiple rounds of the requisition is not happy with the response. They can send it back and ask for price adjustments, etc. So it's using the RFQ module integrated with the basic OPC application, the shop application, to be able to generate a card to send out a collaborative service order. Thank you.